Today, I'm confirming that our second case of COVID-19 was in Prince Edward Island. The patient is a man in his 40s in Queens County. He returned from travel from the United Kingdom and self-isolated because he knew he was supposed to do so immediately upon returning home. He called 811 and was tested on Monday, March the 16th, and his results came back later last evening. I spoke directly to him, and I'm so pleased he's doing well at home, and he had mild symptoms. It is a really good example of why we need to self-isolate and the importance of self-isolation. If he had not self-isolated, he may have inadvertently infected others in the community. So it is a reminder to those who are self-isolating after return from travel, it is really important to do so. In terms of the numbers of tests, because we've gotten a number of questions about this, there have been a total of 213 tests completed as of approximately 9 o'clock this morning. And we received a number of tests back last evening, so a total of 122 negative tests and our 2 positive cases to date. A couple of updates that I think are important to mention. That we have a self-assessment tool online, which will help with our 811 calls. So it may be a tool that people can use to find out if they need to call 811 and consider being tested. And it's being used in a number of other places, and we are going to have that available online today. The other thing to continue to mention, and I know we've talked about it different times before, but I'm encouraging Islanders to stay home and only go out for essential reasons. Ask ourselves each time we go, do we really need to go? But yet it's important that we stay connected while we stay distanced. And I know Islanders are coming up with many creative ways to keep connected and keep busy. And whether they are online workouts, painting classes for children, music performances online, sharing artwork, and learning resources, I think it's all really important. I know our grocery stores, some are offering an extra time, especially for the elderly and most vulnerable. And there are deliveries being made for our friends and neighbors. So I continue to encourage that. We've talked about essential versus non-essential services. And online, as of this morning, there is a much clearer outline of what is essential versus non-essential in terms of the businesses and the categories. And I think that may be helpful for people to understand what is considered essential and non-essential. And, you know, in that part of that discussion, I think I was not clear yesterday, and that was, and I am sorry about that. In trying to protect Islanders and the staff who work at liquor stores, I think we need to talk about what my intention was. I've worked with many Islanders with alcohol use disorder, and we recognize that alcohol use disorder, alcoholism, impacts many families on P.E.I. And alcohol withdrawal is a danger, so we would never leave Islanders without access to alcohol for their own health for certain people. So I think what I was not clear about yesterday is that the stores, liquor stores, will close for in-store shopping of liquor this afternoon at 2 o'clock, but the details around other access will be made available so that whether it's pickup, delivery, drive-through, those are the options that are being explored for and will be announced after by the end of the day today. The other thing to remember, those are government-owned and operated liquor stores that we're talking about, but the agency stores and the breweries will remain open. So I think it's important to keep that in mind, and as we go forward. And I'm sorry I was not as clear as I should have been, and I know it created an issue yesterday afternoon that was really unintended. We all live here, and this is hard on all of us, these decisions that we're making. But it is our chance to get it right, because if we make the decisions we need to make now, it will influence what happens in the weeks and months ahead. If we look at what we know about this coronavirus and the mortality rate, if that was to happen in P.E.I, there would be 3,000 deaths. And it reinforces to me why we need to make these kind of measures that we're taking here in P.E.I as well as around the country. The choices we make today will have a major impact on our provinces for all of us in the weeks and months ahead. And again, this is not easy. This is hard. It's hard for me. It's hard for our families. It's hard for our businesses. It's hard for government. But I really encourage Islanders, not just encourage, I'm asking Islanders to have understanding, respect the self-isolation, respect the social distancing, and do everything we can together to make sure that we don't have the impacts that they're seeing in Italy and other places in the world.